Ever been told to move just because someone more important wants your spot? Yeah, Leonard Bristow got that treatment, and how he handled it? Well, it made an entire airline regret underestimating him. I first saw Leonard on a busy Wednesday afternoon at Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport. Nothing flashy navy blazer, gray tee, dark jeans, polished loafers. No entourage, just a sleek black carry-on and leather briefcase. Leonard Bristow, 47, CEO of Bristow Dynamics, a software company powering major corporations, including a top national airline. He just closed a huge deal in Phoenix and was heading back to San Diego. This flight was his moment of peace, a chance to breathe, maybe sip a bourbon before takeoff, and enjoy the quiet. Leonard had mastered moving through crowds without drawing attention, a skill born from years of being underestimated. Boarding called for first class. Leonard was among the first, ticket in hand. He walked confidently down the jet bridge to seat one, his favorite. Not just for comfort, but for the little consistency it offered in a hectic life. The leather headrest was cool to the touch. He tucked his briefcase under the seat and slid his phone into the side pocket. Routine, nothing unusual. Then, 2 rows behind, a young man strolled in late 20s, tall, sandy hair, pale blue shirt sleeves rolled up, designer sunglasses perched on his head like he owned the place. Leonard barely noticed him yet. That guy was about to shake things up. A petite flight attendant approached Leonard with a polite but tight smile. "Mr. Bristow, we need you to switch seats. There's been a mix-up. Someone else was assigned to 1A. Leonard blinked. "This is my seat. It's on my boarding pass." She nodded, glancing toward the young man, leaning casually near the galley. "He's a frequent VIP flyer. It'd be easier if you took another seat this trip." "Reserved?" Leonard knew airline rules. No VIP could trump a confirmed first-class ticket last minute without a serious reason. Her tone said this was something else. Calm but firm, Leonard said, "I booked this weeks ago. Seat 1A. Why should I move now?" The attendant shifted nervously. 3C is available, still first class, a few rows back. Leonard looked at the young man. He smirked, expecting Leonard to just comply. "No, hi. No, sorry for the inconvenience, just silent entitlement." Before Leonard spoke, an older woman across the aisle chimed in firmly. "Why should he move? He's in the right seat." The attendant's lips pressed tight, no reply. She waited on Leonard. 20 years flashed in Leonard's mind, times he'd been mistaken for an assistant, ignored at dinners, overlooked until people realized who he was. He'd learned to pick battles, but this mattered. "I'm not moving," Leonard said, calm and unshakable. The attendant nodded tightly and walked away. Leonard heard muffled voices, then she returned. "We'll see what we can do," she said, voice clipped. The young man's smirk faded into irritation. Leonard exhaled slowly. The game wasn't over. Tension grew as boarding finished. Passengers settled in, eyes flicking between Leonard and the young man like spectators waiting for a fight. Soon, the attendant came back, now with a tall, no-nonsense crew member. "Mr. Bristow, there's been a miscommunication. We need you to move for operational reasons." Leonard raised an eyebrow, voice steady. "Important for your operations, or just for him?" The young man stepped forward. "Look, I fly here every week. Seat 1A is mine. Nothing personal." Leonard shot back. "Nothing personal becomes very personal when you expect someone to give up a seat they paid for." The cabin held its breath. "Gentlemen, please, we can resolve this without a scene," the attendant interjected. "Without a scene?" The older woman across the aisle cut in. "This is a scene, and it's not him making it." Another passenger nodded. "The ticket decides the seat." End of story. The crew exchanged uneasy looks. Passengers were speaking UPA surprise. The taller attendant's tone hardened. "If you don't cooperate, we may delay departure." Leonard leaned back, eyes steady. "Then delay it." "I'm not moving." Quiet murmurs spread, some annoyed, others clearly with Leonard. The young man pulled out his phone, jaw tight. The crew stepped back. Leonard exhaled. He held his ground but knew this wasn't over. Minutes later, the captain announced over the intercom, We're finalizing seating arrangements and will depart shortly. Thanks for your patience. Leonard heard the warning in those words, seating arrangements. The battle wasn't done. Two figures returned, the tall attendant and a ground supervisor, polished badge gleaming, polite smile fixed. Mr. Bristow, one last time, we need you to move for our elite member. The cabin was silent, all eyes on Leonard. He set down his folder carefully. I'm not moving. I have a confirmed seat and boarded accordingly. The supervisor glanced at the young man, then back. Refusal may lead to removal from the aircraft. Heat rose in Leonard's chest, not fear, but frustration at being made the problem. The older woman spoke again, voice cutting through. You can't just bump a paying passenger because someone else wants his seat. Murmurs grew. Another passenger added, That's wrong. The ticket decides. The young man shifted, smirk on. The supervisor pressed. We need cooperation to depart on time. I can escort you to the gate to discuss. Leonard leaned forward, voice low but clear. So you'll remove me to discuss why I should give up my seat? No reply. Best to handle this without disruption. The only disruption is asking me to give up what I paid for. Silence was thick. Finally, the supervisor's smile thinned. Very well. Stay in your seat. Alternate arrangements will be made. He walked away with the attendant. Leonard leaned back, muscles tight. Every glance waited, some supportive, some impatient. During taxi and takeoff, Leonard stared out the window, not at the man a few rows behind who'd lost his battle. What Leonard didn't know, this sting was only beginning, and it would grow far beyond this flight. The plane landed in San Diego just after sunset. Leonard waited for the crowd to thin, grabbed his bag, and stepped into the aisle. The young man avoided his gaze. Across the aisle, the older woman gave a subtle, notice silent, you did right. But Leonard's relief was thin. Walking through the terminal, he replayed every detail, the attendant's averted eyes, the important operations excuse, the young man's smirk, the public threat. It stacked like evidence. Outside, his black sedan waited under city lights, twinkling over the bay. His driver smiled warmly. Flight go smooth? Leonard said, We made it. At home, he dropped his briefcase, poured water. His phone buzzed with emails about the Phoenix deal. Normally, good news. Tonight, background noise. He sat, staring at the glass. The sting was sharp. The airline didn't realize Bristow Dynamics wasn't just another vendor. They powered the airline's internal software, flight scheduling, maintenance logs, crew management. With Phoenix done, Leonard had some rare open days. He called his COO, Trevor. Still at the office? Yeah, finishing reports. Pull all contracts with Western Horizon Airlines, full scope, terms, renewal dates. Why? I'll explain tomorrow. Meeting first thing. After hanging up, Leonard leaned back. This wasn't about revenge. It was about respect. They chose to publicly push him aside, not money, not status, just because they thought they could. That seat might be the most expensive one they ever moved, Leonard told Trevor. Trevor smirked. Want me to warn them? No, Leonard said firmly. Let it hit when it counts. They mapped how to shift resources legally and strategically without breaching contracts. By noon, calls were going out to rival airlines eager to hear about custom software options. Leonard didn't rush the pitch. He wanted it inevitable, not reactive. As he left the room, Trevor called. You sure you don't want to tell Western Horizon why? Leonard smiled faintly. They'll figure out. When they do, I want them to remember, enjoy your flight. What Leonard didn't expect was how fast the ripple would spread. 3 days later, Trevor burst in. Got to hear this, holding up his phone. On speaker was a Western Horizon contact. We've got backlog, systems slow, flights at risk, support delayed. Trevor looked at Leonard, who just listened. By week's end, calls came from Western Horizon corporate. Our service level dropped. What's happening? Leonard replied calmly. We meet the contract, nothing more, nothing less. Pause. We want to discuss renewal, adjust terms. Leonard cut in. I'm already talking to other carriers. We'll fulfill our agreement, but our priorities have shifted. 2 weeks later, industry buzzed. Bristow Dynamics was reallocating resources to competitors. Western Horizon's operation strained, reputation bruised. One afternoon, Leonard got a letter from Western Horizon CEO. Short, polite. Apologize for misunderstanding the flight incident. Hope to rebuild. Leonard read once, set it aside. An apology sent late after feeling consequences not the same as the respect he deserved in the moment. That night, over dinner with a friend, Leonard said, "Disrespect isn't just a moment you brush past. Sometimes it writes the next chapter of your story for you and for them." His friend nodded. "So you're not going back?" Leonard smiled. "Not unless they buy me a ticket seat 1A. Respect isn't titles or status. It's how you treat someone when you think no one's watching. Small choices can cost the most, and sometimes the price doesn't show until it's too late. If you've ever been overlooked, underestimated, or pushed aside, remember you have more power than you think. Use it wisely. Stand your ground when it counts. Because sometimes the quietest seat on the plane makes the loudest statement you ever. What about you? Have you ever been told to move aside? How would you react if you were Leonard? Drop your thoughts below and share if you believe respect is more than just a seat number. And don't forget to subscribe for more real stories about standing up, fighting for what's right, and how small moments can change everything.